Hey guys, welcome back for another video. So today I've got something a little bit different than I usually do. I've got just a horrendously messy shop. I've got stuff laying out front, axles, broken deer cart, buckets. This is a piece of furniture that we took out of a house that I'm flipping that my wife decided that she wants to refinish, and it's still sitting in my shop. Snow plows are out, pallets, I've got crap everywhere. I've got hunting gear out from a recent hunting trip, deer targets, stuff strewn everywhere. I got a big bench, but I can't even hardly access it because I've got so much crap out. I've got plywood laying all over the place. Shelves are a total disaster. And just to show you I'm going to show you this because it's really embarrassing, but I'm going to show you because I have to fix it. This will give me incentive to get it done. So I've got this loft above my shop, and as you can see, it's just absolutely strewn with crap everywhere. I've got no shelving or anything up here, and this is just my dumping ground for things that I don't use very often, but I don't want to get rid of. I gotta fix this. It's a mess. So I got several projects lined up to get this thing organized, and I thought I'd shoot some videos so you, like I said, it gives me incentive to make sure I actually get it done. And I don't know, some of you might find it interesting. I'm not a naturally tidy person. I kind of deal in piles. I do well with piles, but when you've got as much stuff that I do and tools and things, those piles get in the way and it really kind of slows me down. So I think I can make a lot better use of the space out here. And part of my problem is because I'm always working on projects, I come back. For one thing, I'll bring things home. Like I've got this wire shelving over here that I was planning to put up in my garage. Took that out of a house, it's still sitting there. Plywood scraps are always left over from, from flip houses. So I've got to come up with a better storage system for that. But I always come and just drop stuff in the shop. And then it never really gets put away into its place very well. So that's part of my challenge. So I have to get more, I have to get better about that. But the biggest thing is just making better use of my space. So first thing I'm going to do is just work on getting some of the big stuff out of here. I'm going to transition, winter's coming here, so I'm going to put my mower over into the garage over there with my bike, get that stuff put away so I've got space to actually park in here. And I'll do that first, and then I'll figure out what the next step is going to be to actually get this shop a little bit more organized. All right, guys, time for an update. So, as you can see, I've made some progress here. I've got a lot of things straightened out. I've put some things in their place. I've thrown out a bunch of stuff. I've got a full garbage can plus more than that. And for the first time in a long time, I can actually see the top of my the bench along my outer wall here. So that's progress. I still have to do a lot of organizing of hardware. I need to get I think probably like a bolt bin or something like that. I fixed some, I had a handful of doors that had fallen off, and I fixed the hinges on those, so I got my doors back up too. So that's good. So I got some stuff to do. I've still got piles of deer horns all over the place that I need to, that's a fraction of them. I got a bunch more upstairs. I need to do something with those too. But anyway, now the next step is I'm going to move on to all this plywood. So like I mentioned before, I've always got scraps of plywood laying around from different projects, and I never have a good place to put them. I used to stack them up against the wall over here, but then once I kind of took up that wall with quick jacks and other stuff, that eliminated that. So I've got an idea that I'm going to build a movable, like a swing out plywood rack. And that's what this lumber is here. I actually bought this a long time ago. I've never gotten a chance to actually build this thing. So my thought is I've got this area here in front of my stairs. And as you can see, I've got shelving in here. But, this is stuff that I don't get to super often, but I need to have access to it. So my thought is I'm going to build something on hinges that will actually swing out of the way so I can access the things that are back there. But when it's in a stored position, it'll just be up tight against the staircase, and be out of the way. So that's my thought. So I've got some 2x10s, some 2x6s. I guess I got some 1x3s. I can't even remember what I thought I was going to do with those, but I'll figure this out. I had this plan rolling around in my head quite a while ago. I've got a couple 4-inch casters, some hinges, and some hardware. So I'm going to just start cutting some wood, piece this thing together, and see what I can come up with. All right, guys, so there you go. Finished product. So I've got this built so that it hangs on the corner of my post over there. Slides out. I can access all the other stuff that I have crammed in here. Lots of easy access to slide plywood and sheets of drywall and whatever left over. And I've got all this space out here where I can hang things. I already got, I've got some cable and some rope and some other stuff hanging out there. So I'm happy with that. That's a nice addition to the shop. If you're interested in seeing the process, I made a video building this thing too. I'll leave a link up above or in the description below, something like that if you want to check out how I built that. But nice addition and big improvement. So now the next step in my shop organization. This isn't so much an organization, but this is just a process improvement. So when I built this shop, I always knew I was going to want to be able to hang things from the ceiling. And I won't get into all the details here, but basically I have these 16-inch I-joists that are what I built this floor. So obviously I've got I've got an attic, I've got loft up there for storage. So these I-joists I have doubled up just like this configuration in this section running through the ceiling. And I have 2 hooks, one there that you can see, and then I have one where this hole is right somewhere up here. Can't tell from right there, there's a hole. So I always had 2 hooks up there. And my kind of backwoods way that I've lifted things is with this old block and tackle that's probably 60 years old or something. And honestly, it's worked out. It's served its purpose well, and it's actually kind of cool because it's old. But I've always wanted to have something that was a little bit easier than tugging on that block and tackle. So here's what I've come up with. I picked up an electric hoist, some strut channel, and a bunch of other miscellaneous hardware. So my plan is that I'm going to mount this hoist from the ceiling, and I'm actually going to have it so that it slides back and forth 10 feet so it's adjustable. I won't be able to go, it won't be adjustable for the depth of the shop, but back and forth this main area that I'm usually backing into, it'll be adjustable. So that's the next step in the process. I think I've got all the material. Now I just need to figure out how to put it up. All right, there you have it. My winch is installed. So I've got it looped over. I just put a little hook over here so I can loop the controller there so it's not hanging in the way all the time. Slides back and forth. Glides really nice. So if you haven't seen it, if you want to check it out, I made a video installing this thing, and I'll leave a link up above so you can see that. But kind of go through explain what I had to do to install this through my I-joist ceiling, but works good. And I'll just store it back over here. All right, so now that that's done, moving on to the next project. And by the way, I'll show you with that winch, I attempted to lift my 650-pound four-wheeler, if you want to see that video. So now I'm going to go up into the loft. And like I showed you in the beginning, it is a complete disaster, but as you can see, it looks a little bit different up here. I've been working, obviously got the stuff moved out of this side. What I need to do first, I've got this foil face 3/4 inch foam board insulation, and I came down just, obviously I did the top and the 2 sides. I did that, I don't know, earlier this winter or last summer or something. And that's twofold. For one, it makes sure that the insulation stays up there because that stuff likes to fall down over time, and I've got to keep stapling it back up. It also provides another 3/4 inch of insulation. So this stuff is, that's R5 and that's R19 that's up there. So that puts me R24, and the whole goal here is just to keep this door here shut, and so it's always cooler up here, but I want to keep as much heat into the building as I can, obviously, so I'm not losing heat. So this gives a nice kind of an envelope of insulation, keeps everything sealed, and then the extra added benefit, since I'm using this white stuff, is it makes it much brighter up here. I could already tell just by doing those little bit on the top of the ceiling that it got brighter. So when I go down further, it's going to make a big difference. So here's my plan. So I've got enough insulation right now that I'm going to get this side over here done. And then over here, I'm going to build shelves to try to organize some of this disaster area. It's obviously, with the way this loft is built, you know, it's not very usable space down there. It gets down to, it's like probably 18 inches or something like that off the floor. So anyway, I'm going to come up with some shelves, and at least try to get semi-organized up here. The plan is to run shelves all the way from the stairway all the way over to that wall, which is 24 feet. And I'll see if that's enough to, you know, do what I need it to. If I need to, I can always add a little bit more shelving on this side over here too. But I've got a lot of big stuff, like, you know, I've got 2 deep freezes, and I've got a refrigerator, and I've got, you know, there's big stuff up here. I've got my leaf rake cart is up here, and just, you know, stuff that needs to sit on the floor. So anyway, I'm going to get working on this. I'll see what I can get put together and start the next stage of the process. All right, shelves are built. Let me tell you, building shelves when you've got this angled ceiling like this is a real pain. But I left the bottom, it's kind of dark, you probably can't see. I left the bottom completely open. So my thought is, I've got a lot of big stuff that I can slide underneath here, and I can slide it clear back into the wall, which is probably 6 feet, I would imagine, all the way to that bottom there. I've got about 30 inches off the floor, and then these 2 shelves are roughly like 20 inches or so, something like that, 20 and 18 maybe. And I left this end down here. I just did the 1 shelf. I think maybe I might want to keep this for bigger stuff. I can always come back and add this top tier shelf, but now I've got to see if I can do something with this complete and utter disaster. I don't know if I have enough shelves. All right, guys, time for an update. As you can see, this place looks completely different. So I had the shelving up before. I went ahead and added on the east side over here, added another 16 feet of shelving. And this is all kind of big, bulky stuff over here, so I didn't do the top shelf. And this works out good for, you know, coolers and bike parts. My son's CNC, I've got coolers and I've got heaters and all kinds of big, bulky stuff there. I've got flooring and a bunch of trim and things tucked up underneath there. On this side, I've got a few big kind of, you know, freezers and fridges and a few things in the middle. But this corner over here is pretty much all kind of lawn care and, you know, chainsaw climbing gear and that sort of stuff. This is mostly sporting goods and camping gear. And then this is tools and a bunch of leftover building supplies like lights and, you know, that kind of stuff. And then I took advantage down below, and as you can see, it's all completely full. And then I also, this door over here, I always keep this door shut for one, to keep the dogs from coming up here, and two, mostly to try to keep some of the heat downstairs. But anyway, this is a 5/8 plywood door, and it's all framed out in 2x4, so this thing's heavy. So I actually rigged up a counterweight system. So as you can see, I'm coming off with a cable. I come up to pulley there, and then I come down, and I've got some old window weights, and I didn't have quite enough weight, so I threw a chunk of old hitch on there too. Now that thing goes up really easy with one hand. It used to be heavy and really kind of a pain. Found a spot for my deer heads too. My big deer are all downstairs in my den, but it's a good spot for these guys. So I'm happy. This is one of those jobs that I should have done a long time ago, which I've said many times before, but I should have done it a long time ago. Really glad that I have it done. It's just nice to have things organized, and I've actually been able to take some things from downstairs and kind of give them a home up here too. So anyway, this has been kind of a little bit of a different sort of video, but hopefully you guys found it interesting. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one.